Emma pushed open the glass door of the little café and felt a rush of warm air wrap around her. The bell above the door jingled softly, and a few heads turned in her direction. She guided her wheelchair smoothly across the tiled floor, her heart steady, even though she felt a tiny flutter of nerves. Sunlight spilled through the windows and landed in patches on the wooden tables. The place smelled of fresh coffee and baked bread, the gentle hum of conversation and clinking cups filling the air. She had chosen this café because of its calm. It sat on a quiet street corner in her hometown, not too busy, not too quiet. The barista knew her order by heart a soy latte with extra foam and a warm croissant on the side. Emma enjoyed small rituals. They gave her a sense of normal. Even though she moved a little slower than most people, she found comfort in routines. Today felt different, though. She rolled toward her favorite seat by the window, a corner spot that let her watch people as they passed outside. She wanted to soak in the morning light, feel human in a world that sometimes made her feel invisible. She smiled to herself, pulling out her phone to read the newest message from Marcus. He was halfway around the world, serving in the military. His letters gave her strength when days felt heavy. She tapped his name to see if he had messaged yet. No new messages, just the same photograph he had sent yesterday, a picture of him in uniform, standing tall with a village behind him. She set her phone aside and waited patiently. Her wheelchair made a soft hum on the floor as she shifted to get comfortable. She unwrapped the croissant, its butter melting on her fingers. She took a small bite and closed her eyes, letting the warm, soft dough comfort her. A few other customers glanced her way with kind smiles. She returned their smiles, feeling a little better. She loved this cafe for little kindnesses. As Emma settled in, a group of young people entered. They walked in together, laughing loudly, not paying attention to the barista or anyone else. She recognized them from around town. They were always in groups, teasing each other. Some of them flirted with local girls, others messed with the men. They liked being noticed. Emma braced herself, thinking they might go to a table by the window. She shifted her gaze to her latte, hoping they would choose another spot. But they did not. One of them pointed at her wheelchair and snickered. Another rolled his eyes and made a slow, mocking movement with his hand, turning invisible knobs as if adjusting a control panel. Emma's heart sank, but she kept her eyes on her latte, pretending not to see. She hoped they would stop quickly. The first cruel voice rang out clear. "Hey, look at this thing. Does it even move on its own?" A second voice added, "Maybe it's broken. She's stuck in it forever." They laughed. Their voices were too loud. Emma felt her hands tremble on her croissant. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. She remembered Marcus's words. "You are stronger than their words." She tried to believe it. They edged closer. One shoved a sugar packet with a teasing grin and flicked it so the packet landed on her lap, slid off her dress and fell to the floor. The cafe quieted. A few people watched with shock. A couple of teenagers who sat nearby looked away but did not intervene. The barista paused behind the counter, unsure whether to step in. Emma bent down, picked up the sugar packet, and tucked it into her purse. She felt tears prick her eyes, but she blinked hard and looked out the window instead of at the group. She focused on the tall oak tree swaying outside, counting the branches in her head. She refused to cry. She had learned long ago that showing pain sometimes made bullies angrier. She lifted her head and faced them. Her chin was set, her shoulders steady, she said in a calm voice. "Is there something I can help you with?" Her tone was quiet but firm. The group froze. For a moment, they looked at each other, unsure. Then one of them, a tall boy named Derek, forced a laugh. "Oh, come on, we're just joking around." He wrapped his fingers on her table. "Up, wheelchair girl." Emma felt her stomach tighten. She wanted to shout back words that would burn them. But she remembered Marcus's lesson. Kindness disarms anger. She forced a small smile, though it did not reach her eyes. "I see. I hope you enjoy your day." She turned back to her latte, signaling that the conversation was over. They hesitated. One of the girls in the group, a quiet blonde who never spoke much, frowned and looked away. But the others nudged her. Derek leaned in, face close to Emma's. You think you're so brave, huh? Sitting there all high and mighty? He laughed and turned away. The group backed off, but they stayed in the cafe, whispering among themselves, glancing back at her. Emma kept her gaze ahead, trying not to feel afraid. She pressed the foam of her latte with her fingertip and blew on it gently. She reminded herself of Marcus, of how proud he was of her bravery every time she stood her ground in life. She felt a warmth in her chest at the thought of him. If he had been here, he would stand by her. He would protect her. She took another bite of the croissant and let its buttery flavor calm her. Then she did something bold. She pushed her wheelchair out of the corner and closer to the group. Her move was slow and deliberate. The group looked surprised. She stopped beside their table and placed her empty plate on a tray. She said loudly so everyone could hear, "Excuse me, I need this cleared, please." The barista moved quickly to take her plate. The group stared at her, mouths open. The cafe was silent now. Other customers watched this quiet standoff. Emma felt her heart beat fast, but she felt no fear. She had taken control of her own space. She wheeled back to her spot, nodded politely, and quietly said, "Thank you." Then she sat back and waited. The group looked embarrassed. The barista continued working behind the counter, not quite knowing what to do next. Derek ran a hand through his hair, shifting uncomfortably. The blonde girl touched his arm and mouthed an apology to Emma. Emma saw it, but did not know what to say. She simply nodded to the girl, giving a small, forgiving smile. Almost at once, the bell above the door jingled again. Emma saw a line of soldiers in uniform step into the cafe. The front soldier held back the crowd, and the next one scanned the room. Behind them, she recognized Marcus. His face was calm, but his eyes held determination. He walked straight to her, his boots clicking softly on the floor. The rest of his unit stood behind him, forming a silent circle around the mocking group. Emma felt a wave of relief sweep through her. Her muscles relaxed. She stared at Marcus, tears gathering at the corners of her eyes. He knelt beside her wheelchair, reached out, and gently brushed a stray hair behind her ear. She did not have to say anything. His presence spoke louder than words. The soldiers' uniforms were crisp, their stance firm. The group that had teased her now looked small and ashamed. No one laughed anymore. The hum of conversation returned as the cafe filled with quiet respect. Marcus leaned close and whispered, "You okay?" Emma nodded, her voice stuck in her throat. She felt a surge of gratitude and love. She knew that with him by her side, she could face anything. Outside the window, sunlight continued to shine on the oak tree. Inside the cafe, a lesson was unfolding. In quiet strength, Emma realized she had the power to stand tall, just as Marcus had always said. She smiled, truly this time, and felt a new confidence settle in her heart. Emma woke up the next morning with a gentle ache in her shoulders. Her muscles still remembered the day before, the weight of tension that built when the group first laughed at her, and the sudden relief when Marcus and his unit arrived. She lay still for a moment, listening to the hum of the air conditioner and the soft chirp of birds outside her window. The world felt calm and safe again. She smiled at the memory of Marcus kneeling beside her, brushing her hair away. His presence had been her anchor. She rolled out of bed and reached for her phone. There was a message from Marcus. "Meet me for lunch at the cafe on Maple Street. I want to see you." She tapped a reply with a smiley face. She had dressed carefully that morning. In soft jeans and a pale blue sweater, the color reminded her of the sky on clear days, calm and endless. She brushed her hair and added a small clip to keep it away from her face. She packed a small bag with her wallet, keys, and a notebook where she sometimes wrote Marcus's letters. When she arrived at the cafe, sunlight filtered through the glass windows. The place felt different today, lighter, friendlier. She spotted Marcus sitting at their usual table by the window. His uniform had changed to civilian clothes, but she recognized the confident posture he always carried. He waved, and she rolled over, her heart fluttering. The table was set with 2 cups of herbal tea and a plate of fruit. Marcus had thought of her favorite things. She settled into her wheelchair and felt Marcus's hand on her shoulder. "Good morning," he said. His voice warmed her like a soft blanket. "Morning," she replied. "Thank you for inviting me." He smiled, and she could see the relief in his eyes. He pushed the plate of fruit toward her: sliced apples, grapes, and strawberries. Each piece was arranged carefully, as if he wanted her meal to taste extra special. They sipped their tea in comfortable silence. Emma looked at Marcus's face, tracing the strong line of his jaw and the soft curves of his eyes. He had been away for months, and each time they spoke, she missed him more. As she ate a strawberry, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small envelope. She raised her eyebrows in surprise. "I wrote you something," he said, passing it to her. She opened it and found a letter filled with gentle words. How proud he was of her courage. How her smile lit up his days. How he dreamed of their future together. Tears sprung to her eyes, but she blinked them back. She read the letter slowly, savoring every sentence. When she finished, she folded it carefully and tucked it into her notebook. "Thank you," she said, her voice soft. "You always know how to make me feel loved." He reached across the table and took her hand. The warmth of his skin was a comfort she needed after the hurt of yesterday. Behind them, the cafe door opened and a few familiar faces entered. The barista gave Emma a friendly nod, and a couple of older ladies smiled as they passed by. Emma felt a gentle buzz of kindness around her, as if the town had leaned in to show its support. She glanced at the group from the day before. They sat in the corner booth, heads lowered, their voices hushed. Emma did not know whether they had come to apologize or just for coffee. She decided to wait and see. Once Marcus finished his tea, he stood and tilted his head toward the group. "Let me handle this," he said quietly. Emma shook her head, her heart fluttering at the thought of him confronting them again. "I don't want more trouble," she whispered. He lowered himself so they were eye to eye. "They need to learn," he said. "You don't have to face them alone." She looked into his steady gaze and felt a surge of trust. She nodded. Together, they moved toward the group. Emma rolled forward carefully, her movements sure. Group looked up, surprise flitting across their faces. Marcus walked beside her, his uniform no longer visible, but his strength clear in every step. When they reached the booth, Marcus placed his hand lightly on Emma's shoulder. "Boys," Derek stammered. "Emma, I'm sorry." His voice was small. The girl with the blonde hair looked ashamed. She glanced away. Emma looked at Derek and said, "Thank you." Then she turned her chair so her back faced them. Marcus said softly, "It means something when you respect people." The group nodded quickly. Emma wheeled back to her table, and Marcus followed. No one spoke further. After lunch, Marcus offered to push Emma to the park down the street. It was a sunny day with a light breeze. It passed under tall oak trees, their leaves dancing in the wind. Emma watched a group of children play nearby, their laughter bright. She remembered a time before her injury when she ran with them, chasing butterflies in the grass. She sighed happily at the memory. Marcus paused beside a flower bed, and a warm glow crossed his face. He squatted to pick a small sunflower that leaned toward the sun. He handed it to her care. Emma took it and smelled the fresh petals, feeling grateful for simple joys. They found a bench facing a small pond. Ducks glided across the water, leaving ripples behind. Emma rested her hands on her lap and watched the reflections of clouds in the pond. Marcus sat beside her, his knee brushing hers. They talked about small things, the blue of the sky, the way the wind played with her hair, the taste of the fruit they had shared. Emma laughed when Marcus recounted a silly joke from his unit. She hadn't laughed so freely in days. After a quiet moment, Marcus said, "I have something else to show you." He reached into his bag and pulled out a small notebook. He opened it, revealing a collection of photographs. Marcus in uniform, smiling at a distant mountain. Marcus shaking hands with local villagers. Marcus holding a small puppy he had found at the base camp. Each photo was a story. Emma studied them with wonder, imagining the places he had seen and the people he had helped. She felt pride swell. Within her, "You've done so much," she said softly. "I wish I could be there with you." He took her hand and said, "You are always with me, even when we're apart." Emma felt tears in her eyes again. but they were happy tears this time. They closed the notebook, and Marcus turned to her.
Hi.
His face grew serious but kind. I know yesterday was hard, he said, but you showed everyone what true strength looks like. Emma looked down at her hands, thinking of the fear she had felt when the group mocked her. I was scared, she admitted, but I remembered your letters. He smiled and brushed a hand over hers. And you listened. He said, that's real courage. Emma felt her heart swell. She realized that courage did not mean she never felt fear. It meant she acted even when she felt afraid. She looked at Marcus and said, I want to help others feel brave too. He raised an eyebrow. How? He asked. She thought for a moment. Maybe I could start a support group, she said. For people with disabilities and their families. We could meet here in the cafe or at the community center. We could share our stories so no one feels alone. Marcus's smile grew wide. That's a wonderful idea, he said. You'd help so many people. Emma felt excitement bloom. She pictured a room filled with friendly faces, sharing tea and laughter and strength. She pictured herself guiding conversations, offering hope. She felt a sense of purpose she had not felt in a long time. Marcus squeezed her hand. I'll help you, he said, whenever you need me. She leaned toward him and whispered, thank you. The sun began to lower, and they decided to head back. They passed the cafe again, and Emma noticed the sign in the window, kindness first. She smiled, thinking how fitting it was. Marcus pushed her wheelchair along the sidewalk, and they talked about plans for the support group. Emma felt light and hopeful. She knew challenges would come again, but she had Marcus, her community, and her own courage. She looked up at the sky, its colors shifting warm as the day ended. She whispered to herself, everything will be okay. And in that moment, she felt it was true. Emma woke early the next day, her mind buzzing with ideas. She lay in bed, thinking of all the people who might need a safe place to share their stories. For weeks, she had felt alone in her struggles, and now she wanted to change that for others. She slid her legs into her jeans, reached for her pale blue sweater, and carefully brushed her hair with the clip that Marcus had given her. She paused for a moment to look at the small sunflower he had picked for her yesterday. It sat in a tiny vase on her bedside table, bright and cheerful. She smiled, feeling its warmth spread through her. After a quick breakfast of oatmeal and berries, Emma gathered her notebook and phone. She planned to talk to the cafe owner, Mrs. Lopez, about using the back room for the first meeting. The cafe had become a symbol of kindness to her, and she felt it was the perfect place. She wheeled out the front door, the morning sun shining on the pavement. The gentle hum of the town felt welcoming today. When she arrived at the cafe, she found Mrs. Lopez arranging pastries behind the counter. The aroma of fresh muffins and cinnamon rolls greeted her. Mrs. Lopez looked up with a kind smile. Good morning, Emma. You look excited. Emma nodded. Good morning. Was hoping we could talk about using the back room this Saturday for a small gathering. She explained her idea of a support group for people in wheelchairs, crutches, or with other mobility challenges. Her voice trembled slightly with nerves, but she held her chin high. Mrs. Lopez wiped her hands on her apron and stood. She led Emma through the cafe to a cozy room with a few small tables and soft chairs. Sunlight filtered through lace curtains. I love this idea, Mrs. Lopez said. We can clear out the tables and set up chairs in a circle, no charge for. You, Emma felt tears well up, but blinked them back. Thank you so much. This means a lot. She squeezed Mrs. Lopez's hand. Next. Emma called Marcus. His cheerful voice made her heart leap. She told him about the room and the date. Saturday at 3, she said. Can you help me set it up? Marcus agreed without hesitation, promised to bring a few members of his unit to help move chairs and set up refreshments. Emma felt relief wash over her. With his support, everything seemed possible. Over the next few days, Emma designed simple invitations. She wrote in clear, friendly letters, "You are not alone. Join us for a support gathering." Under that, she added the date, time, and location. She printed copies at her local library and posted them on community boards at the library, the local recreation center, and the rehabilitation clinic. She also shared a photo of the flyer on a community Facebook group. People wrote comments of encouragement. Great idea. I'd love to come. Thank you for doing this. Emma felt a warm glow as she read the messages.
Friday afternoon arrived, and Emma felt both excitement and nerves. What if no one showed up? What if
people felt shy or judged? She remembered how she had felt last week in the cafe, alone with her fear. She refused to let doubt win. She opened her notebook and wrote a list of questions and topics to start the conversation. What helps you feel confident? Do you handle stares or rude comments? What small kindnesses made your day better? Then she added, end with tea and snacks. Satisfied, she closed the book. On Saturday morning, Emma and Marcus arrived at the cafe together. Marcus wore civilian clothes but carried a box of herbal teas and a tray of fresh fruit from the market. Behind him followed two of his fellow soldiers, not on duty but eager to help, Private Lee and Corporal Santos. They smiled warmly and greeted Emma. Ready? Marcus asked. Emma nodded, her heart fluttering with both excitement and gratitude. Inside the back room, they moved chairs into a circle. Emma counted 12 chairs, imagining 12 people sharing their stories. She set the table with teacups, napkins, and a vase holding 2 sunflowers. Marcus and his friends arranged the snacks: grape clusters, apple slices, whole wheat crackers. With cheese, Emma looked at the spread and felt proud. It felt welcoming and calm. A few minutes before 3, Emma wheeled to the center of the circle and cleared her throat. Marcus stood behind her, his hand on her wheelchair, giving her confidence. Welcome, Emma began, her voice steady but soft. She glanced at the empty chairs. I'm so happy you're here. My name is Emma, and this is a place to share what you've faced and find support. She paused. Not one person had come yet. Her heart pounded. At exactly 3 o'clock, the bell above the cafe door jingled. Emma looked up. A woman wearing leg braces peeked in. She looked shy but hopeful. Emma smiled and waved. The woman nodded and rolled in. Behind her came a young man with a cane, then an older gentleman in a motorized scooter. Soon, 4 more people joined, a teenager wearing a knee brace, a middle-aged woman with a walking stick, and another man in a wheelchair. In total, 8 strangers gathered. Emma felt tears slip down her cheeks. She cleared her throat. Thank you all for coming, she said. I know it can be hard to share, but we're here to listen and support each other. Woman in leg braces to share first. The woman, named Lara, explained how she had broken her leg in a car accident 6 months ago. She talked about the frustration of depending on others, the loneliness of watching friends run without her, and the guilt she felt for being a burden. As she spoke, the group listened quietly, nodding. When she finished, Marcus offered her a cup of tea, and Lara smiled, her eyes bright. Next, the man with the cane, named Ravi, spoke of a sports injury that had left him partially paralyzed in one leg. He described the moment he first walked with the cane, how he felt both proud and afraid. He shared how unkind comments had hurt him more than the injury itself. Emma felt her heart ache at his words. When he finished, the older gentleman, Mr. Thompson, placed a comforting hand on Ravi's shoulder. One by one, each person shared. The teenager, Zoe, spoke of falling off her skateboard and feeling embarrassed at school. A few classmates had whispered cruel jokes. The middle-aged woman, Maria, told of her struggle with multiple sclerosis and the fear of losing independence. The man in the wheelchair, named Daniel, described the challenges of finding accessible spaces and the joy he felt when someone offered to help him at the grocery store. As the stories unfolded, Emma felt a deep connection with each person. Their words painted a picture of shared hardship and resilience. She realized that though their injuries and challenges were different, their feelings were the same: fear, frustration, longing for kindness, and the need to belong. When everyone had spoken, Emma gently said, "Thank you all for your courage. I know it takes strength to share your story." She passed around a small notebook and invited anyone who wished to write a note of encouragement to another member. The group wrote messages: "You are strong, I understand, I'm here for you." They folded the notes and placed them in a bowl. Marcus then stood and said, "This gathering is just the start. We can meet every week or every other week. We'll grow stronger together." The group nodded enthusiastically. Ria raised her hand. "Could we invite family members sometimes so they can understand how we feel?" Emma smiled. "Yes, that's a great idea." They ended the meeting with tea and fruit, laughing softly as they talked about daily life. Emma listened to Marcus tell a silly story about a puppy at his base, and the group smiled and laughed. The room felt warm and alive, filled with understanding and hope. After the last cup of tea, Emma stood to close the meeting. She said, "I'll send each of you a message with details for our next meeting. Thank you for making this first gathering so special." People hugged or shook hands. Laura patted Emma's arm. Daniel said, "This was exactly what I needed." Emma and Marcus cleaned up as the cafe returned to its normal rhythm. As they wheeled outside, Emma felt her heart soar. She looked at Marcus, breathing in the evening air. "That was amazing," she said. He smiled and wrapped an arm around her shoulders, steadying her chair. "You did amazing," he said. "You brought people together." Emma thought of the empty chairs that had filled with hope. She imagined each person carrying a piece of this kindness into their own lives and sharing it with others. She felt proud of her idea and grateful for the support of Marcus, his unit, and the cafe. That night, Emma wrote in her notebook, "First meeting. 8 brave souls, stories shared, new friendships, next steps, invite family, plan activities, find a bigger space if needed." She closed the book and looked at the sunflower petals. By her bedside, she felt her own courage growing like a flower reaching toward the sun. As she drifted to sleep, Emma knew that together they would face new challenges. But she also knew that no one in that circle would ever feel alone again. And that thought filled her dreams with light. Emma awoke early on Monday morning, her mind still buzzing from the success of the first meeting. She stretched in bed and smiled at the memory of friendly faces sharing their stories. She glanced at her notebook on the bedside table, the page filled with notes about inviting family members and planning activities. She felt a sense of purpose stronger than ever. Downstairs in her kitchen, she prepared a simple breakfast of toast and jam. Marcus was already up, packing his uniform before. Heading back to base, he kissed her forehead as he passed. "How was your weekend?" he asked quietly. Emma held up her notebook. "We had our first gathering," she said, her voice soft with pride. "It was amazing. 8 people came, and they all shared their stories." Marcus's face lit up. "I knew you could do it." He paused by the door. "I'll be home next Saturday. Can we plan another meeting then?" Emma nodded eagerly. "Yes, and this time we can invite family." Marcus smiled and left. After breakfast, Emma wheeled herself to her desk by the living room window. She opened her laptop and drafted a message to the group. She wrote in clear, gentle language, "Thank you for coming. Our next meeting is Saturday at 3. Please bring a family member if you wish." She clicked send and felt a wave of excitement. Already replies popped up. "I'll bring my sister. Can my husband come?" Looking forward to it, Emma grinned at the supportive messages. Over the next few days, Emma focused on planning. She met Mrs. Lopez at the cafe to confirm the back room. They decided to add a small table at the front for pastries and coffee, free for attendees. Emma also called the local newspaper. She spoke to a kind reporter named Claire, who said she would run a short story about the support group. Emma felt a flicker of nervousness at the idea of publicity, but Claire assured her the tone would be positive, helping others learn about the group. Emma agreed. Meanwhile, Marcus's military unit offered to help again. 2 of his friends would bring snacks and set up chairs. Emma felt grateful for their steady support. She also ordered small name tags for everyone, so people could feel more comfortable calling each other by name. She practiced writing, "Hello, my name is," on a sheet of paper, imagining the new connections that would form. On Friday afternoon, Emma saw the newspaper article online. The headline read, "Local Woman Launches Courageous Support Group for Mobility Challenges." The story described Emma's own experience and the group's first meeting. A photo showed Emma and Marcus setting up chairs in the cafe's back room. Emma's heart fluttered at seeing herself in print. She hoped this would reach more people who needed comfort and connection. Saturday arrived, bright and gentle. Emma dressed in her favorite pale blue sweater and wore a sunflower pin that Mrs. Lopez had given her for luck. She packed her bag, with name tags, markers, and her notebook. Marcus arrived in civilian clothes, carrying a box of cookies shaped like sunflowers. Behind him followed Private Lee and Corporal Santos, each carrying trays of pastries and bottled water. Inside the cafe, Mrs. Lopez greeted them with warm hugs. She had arranged fresh flowers on the tables and placed a bowl of mixed nuts near the coffee station. Emma felt tears of gratitude. They set up the back room once more, arranging 12 chairs in a circle. This time, 2 extra chairs sat apart, reserved for family members. On a small side table, Emma placed name tags organized alphabetically, markers beside them. At 2:30, a steady stream of people arrived. First came Lara, who brought her sister Lily. Both women hugged Emma and Marcus. Next came Ravi, holding his wife's hand. Mr. Thompson introduced his daughter, and Zoe came with her father. A tall man with kind eyes. Maria arrived with her teenage son, and Daniel brought his best friend, who had pushed his wheelchair through the door. Emma's heart swelled as she welcomed each pair, showing them to their seats and handing out name tags. Once everyone had settled, Emma stood and cleared her throat softly. She looked around the circle, meeting the eyes of each person. "Welcome back," she said gently. "Today, we have something new. Family members are here to listen and learn." She paused, and a hush fell over the room. "I'd like to begin by introducing ourselves and saying what we hope to gain today." She passed the notebook to Lara, who read a short note. "I hope my sister can understand how hard it was for me." Lily wiped a tear and said, "I want to learn how to support her better." The group nodded with understanding. One by one, members spoke. Ravi's wife, Aisha, described how she worried about doing the right thing. She asked questions she feared might sound hurtful. Emma encouraged her, saying that honest questions could help bridge understanding. Aisha smiled gratefully. Zoe's father, Michael, admitted he sometimes felt helpless when his daughter struggled. Zoe squeezed his hand and shared what made her feel safe, calm voices, in giving her space when she needed it. He listened carefully and nodded. Mr. Thompson's daughter, Grace, spoke next. She said she felt proud of her father, but sometimes anxious when he used the scooter and she could not help him. He reached for her hand and said, "You help me every day by being here." The pair shared a gentle moment of connection. Maria and her son, Raphael, talked about how they used to be close until the illness made simple tasks hard. Maria emphasized that she wanted her son's friendship more than anything. Raphael promised to include her in games they'd enjoyed together. Daniel's friend Amir admitted that sometimes he hesitated to offer help, fearing he might offend. Daniel smiled and said, "It's okay to ask. I'd rather you ask than do nothing." Amir nodded, relieved. The group atmosphere felt warm and trusting. Emma realized that sharing together could heal misunderstandings and draw people closer. After introductions, Emma suggested a simple activity. She passed around a sheet of paper with 3 questions. What makes you feel valued? How can someone show you respect? What small act of kindness means the most? Each person took a few minutes to write their answers. Then they passed the paper to the person on their right, who read it aloud. Emma watched as smiles and nods greeted each answer. A young woman named Sandra, who had come in a knee brace, read Amelia's note, "When someone listens without rushing." Me. The group agreed that listening was a powerful gift. As the activity ended, Marcus offered to make coffee for the group. He and Private Lee stepped into the main cafe area, returning with mugs of coffee and cups of hot cocoa. Emma watched as people reached for their drinks, the steam curling in the soft light. The room filled with gentle chatter about favorite flavors and morning routines. Emma felt a contentment she had never known before. This was more than a group. It was a new community. Suddenly, the cafe door opened, and Claire, the reporter, stepped in with her camera. She explained she wanted to take a few photos of the gathering for the newspaper follow-up. Emma felt a flutter of nerves, but nodded. Claire moved quietly, capturing candid moments. Lily comforting Laura, Mr. Thompson, and Grace sharing a laugh. Marcus pouring coffee with a gentle smile. Emma realized that this story would reach more people, spreading hope beyond their circle. Once Claire finished, Emma invited everyone to share final thoughts. She spoke softly. I hope today helped. Families understand you better, and you feel understood. Remember, we are here for each other. A hush fell as people reflected. Then Laura's sister, Lily, spoke. Thank you, Emma. I see now how strong you are, and I want to stand by you. The room filled with nods and gentle applause. Emma felt her eyes sting with tears of joy. As the meeting closed, Emma handed out small folded notes, words of encouragement she had written for each member before the meeting. She watched as people opened them, reading messages like, You are important. Your story matters. We are here for you. Soft smiles spread across their faces. They hugged and shook hands, promising to tell friends and family about the group. After the last person left, Emma and Marcus cleaned up. Mrs. Lopez brought them cups of tea and thanked them for creating such a warm space. Emma rested her hands on her notebook, tired but happy. Marcus wrapped an arm around her shoulders. Yes, you did this, he said proudly. You built something special. Emma looked at him and smiled. We did this, she said. Together. That evening, Emma wrote in her notebook. Second meeting with families. Stronger connections. New members will join next time. Plan a small social event, maybe a picnic. She closed the notebook and looked at the sunflower still bright. On her shelf, she felt a deep sense of belonging and purpose. She knew challenges still lay ahead, finding a larger space, reaching more people, but she felt ready. With Marcus by her side and a caring community behind her, Emma believed they could face anything with courage and kindness. Emma woke before dawn, her mind already alive with plans for today's gathering. She felt a gentle excitement in her chest, like butterflies waking up. Today would be different. Today they would celebrate how far they had come and look ahead. 2 new ways to help each other. She dressed in a soft yellow blouse that matched the sunflower pin she wore on her sweater. The bright color made her feel cheerful. She tucked her notebook and pen into her bag and wheeled downstairs to find Marcus. Making coffee in the kitchen, he smiled when he saw her. His uniform hung neatly on a hook by the door, but today he wore a simple polo shirt and jeans. Ready for the big day? He asked, pouring her a cup. She nodded, accepting the warm mug with both hands. I think so, she said. I'm proud of how far we've come. He kissed her forehead and nodded. Me too, he said softly. Let's make today special. They arrived at the cafe early, greeted by the familiar scent of freshly baked bread. Sunshine streamed through the windows, lighting up dust motes like tiny stars. Mrs. Lopez met them with a warm hug. Happy third gathering, she said. I have fresh muffins and coffee ready. Behind her, the back room looked ready. Row of balloons in bright colors arched over the doorway. The banner read, Together we grow. Emma felt tears prick her eyes at the sight of everyone's effort to support her dream. Inside the back room, Marcus and 2 of his friends from the unit arranged chairs in a wide circle. Private Lee and Corporal Santos set up a small table with trays of muffins, fruit, and iced tea. On a side table, Emma and Marcus placed a stack of small journals and pens, inviting members to write down thoughts or ideas as the meeting unfolded. Emma counted the chairs, 14 seats, 2 more than the last meeting, showing how the group had grown.
Emma
Wheeled to the middle of the circle, her heart steady. She inhaled the scent of fresh flowers that Mrs. Lopez had placed on each small table in front of the chairs. Roses, daisies, and sunflowers brightened the room. Emma could feel the kindness in every detail. She smiled at Marcus, who gave her an encouraging nod. Then she spoke in a clear, gentle voice. Welcome back, everyone, she began, and welcome to our third gathering. It warms my heart to see faces both new and familiar. She glanced around. Some members sat beside family. Others sat alone with hopeful eyes. Emma's heart swelled. Today we celebrate how far we've come and think about ways to grow even more. She paused, letting the words sink in. Cheers and nods greeted her. First, she invited Mr. Thompson to share. The older man in the scooter leaned forward and spoke with quiet strength. He told how meeting this group had given him the confidence to join a local art class. He explained how painting helped him express feelings he had kept inside for months. His daughter Grace added how proud she was to see him learn new skills and make friends. Emma felt a warm glow as the room filled with applause. Next, Lara spoke. She held hands with her sister Lily. Lara said that sharing her story and hearing others had reduced her anxiety. She described how she now volunteered at the town library, reading to children every Wednesday. Lily beamed as she told the group how her sister's bravery inspired her to try new things too. The room clapped, and Emma felt tears of joy. Maria stood with her son, Raphael. She said the group helped her find hope on days when her illness felt overwhelming. She shared how Raphael and she had started a small garden together, planting flowers and watching them grow. Raphael added that caring for the garden gave him a chance to bond with his mother in a way he never imagined. Emma pictured the bright blooms and felt a surge of warmth for them both. Daniel and Amir spoke together. Daniel said that having friends who understood made his world brighter. He described how a friend from work invited him to a movie night at home, making sure that space was accessible. Daniel said he felt included and valued. Amir smiled and described how he learned to ask Daniel what he needed, instead of just assuming. Emma felt proud of the lessons they shared. A newcomer named Sophie then shared her story. She used crutches after a hiking accident. She spoke of how she feared never hiking again, but found courage in the group's messages. She showed a photo of herself on a trail with friends, wearing a big grin. The room cheered, and Emma felt thrilled to see new members making strides. After the sharing, Emma introduced an activity. She handed each person a journal and asked them to write a letter to their future selves. In the letter, they would describe a goal they hoped to achieve by the next gathering and a small act of kindness they would do for someone else in the group. The room grew quiet as everyone wrote, pens scratching gently on paper. Emma watched. As Marcus sat beside her, his journal open, writing too. She felt grateful that he joined in, not just as support, but as a member of the community. When time was up, Emma asked volunteers to read excerpts from their letters. Zoe, the teenager, spoke first. She read how she aimed to learn to paint, inspired by Mr. Thompson, and to send an encouraging message to another member each week. The group smiled, and Zoe looked proud. Marcus then read a part of his letter, saying he planned to start a weekly volunteer shift at the cafe to help with the group and to bring fresh pastries each time. The crowd cheered, and Marcus grinned at Emma, who waved her hand as if conducting the celebration. Next came Lara. She read she hoped to return to work part-time and to invite Sophie on a hike when Sophie felt ready. She blushed at the idea. Emma felt a warm sense of connection for them both. Each person's letter was a promise of growth and care, binding the group more closely. After the readings, Emma stood and raised her cup of iced tea. To kindness, courage, and growth, she said. May we keep supporting each other and moving forward together. The group echoed her toast, and cups clinked softly. The room felt like a haven of hope. As the meeting drew to a close, Mrs. Lopez brought fresh coffee for everyone and offered free pastries from the cafe's new special menu. People gathered around the snack table, chatting and laughing softly. Emma moved among them, listening to plans for hikes, art projects, gardening days, and coffee mornings. She felt proud and humbled by the kindness spreading through the room. When the last guest departed, Emma and Marcus remained to tidy up. They stacked chairs, wiped tables, and gathered the journals. The back room looked neat again, but the lingering warmth of shared stories remained in the air. Mrs. Lopez stood in the doorway, admiring the clean space. You've made something beautiful here, she said. I'm honored to host you, Emma smiled. Thank you for believing in us, she replied. Outside, the sky was turning orange and pink as the sun set. Emma wheeled herself to the cafe's front door, with Marcus beside her. They paused under the kindness first sign in the window. Emma reached up and brushed her finger across, the words feeling their truth in her heart. Marcus placed an arm around her shoulders. You did this, he said. You helped build a community. Emma leaned into him. Did this. She answered softly. Together? What? Later that evening, at home, Emma opened her notebook and wrote, "Third meeting. Hearts full. New promises made." Next, Plan A. Community picnic in the park. Invite local businesses to join. Spread kindness beyond our circle. She closed the notebook and looked at the sunflower on her desk, soft petals glowing in the light of a small lamp. She felt a peaceful joy wash over her. As she prepared for bed, Emma thought of Marcus's support and the group's shared courage. She felt stronger than ever, ready to face whatever tomorrow would bring. She whispered aloud, "We are not alone." Then she turned off the light and let sleep carry her into dreams of open fields, blooming flowers and laughter echoing in. The sun,